Can everyone hear me? Right. So, welcome everybody. And we'll wait for some people to join. Hello, is anyone there? Not yet. Hello, is Max there?
Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
Max, how are you doing? Good.
I'm fine, you?
Pretty good. Hopefully this is working a little bit better this time.
Hello?
Yeah, we're all in. We'll wait for some more people to join, please. Feel free to share this link because apparently it's a different link.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, everyone, can you hear me, Max?
Yes, I can hear you. Very good.
Very good. Very nice. So I'll share that link. I'll share that link around a bit on anywhere that people might want to see that.
Hello?
Hello, who's that?
Hi, this is Jason.
Hi, Jason. Nice to say hello. Yeah, please share the link around so we can wait for a few more people to join in.
Great.
Maybe we'll wait another few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes. So I think the link was different to what I'd actually shared before. They tend to, my fault, they changed a bit. I have 3 people on: Alessandro, Max, myself. Sound quality is good, right?
Yep, I can hear you clear and
Much better this time. Good. Gonna start up. Just have a little chat about introductions and so on. So I'll just go over a little bit of an overview. So we're gonna go through a few of the memes, I guess, and see what they are. I think there's 13 this month, so it's more than last month. Winner gets 50 SolarCoin. For those who don't know that contest, it's a kind of a monthly contest where everyone can produce memes about SolarCoin. It's pretty open there, and the idea is just to share about the project, information about SolarCoin in a very short and precise format. And the idea of memes is to share them out so more people look at it and it gets a little bit more exposure. So if you're just putting the memes on the competition channel, for example, in the SolarCoin group, then they're not only a few people are seeing them, so it kind of defeats the purpose of a meme. But if people have got some more memes, the better. I think someone else has joined. Hello, Brandon unavailable.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay.
We got some feedback there.
Yeah, I've got a basic mic.
So probably there's someone playing the live stream of the Hangout.
Oops. I have a basic mic. I can always mute it.
Okay. So Andre has joined. Hi Andre, it's Luke here. How are you?
Hi, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear everyone. So yeah, just we'll just go through the list of what we're going to talk about. There's 5 people on now, so I think we can start talking. And yeah, so I was just talking a little bit about the meme contest. The idea of the meme contest is just to share a little bit of information in a very tight, precise format, in the case of a meme, about SolarCoin. So that's going on, and there were 13 or so memes this month. So we're just going to go over those in the first part of the topic list. Go through the memes. Then we'll talk about overall project, what's coming up in SolarCoin, discussion of the overall project on the open community platform. We're not coming in from the SolarCoin Foundation side or anything. It's more just an open discussion about anyone who wants to chime in and talk about SolarCoin and what's happening, or more general picture really about the other solar related blockchain projects, in IOTA or in the other ICOs that are happening. It's very interesting. So, thirdly, we'll talk about Raspberry Pi, what's going on there, a little bit about HTML interface and setups platform for Raspberry Pis. There was some talk about an upcoming hackathon in Thailand, centered around probably a Raspberry Pi IoT devices with blockchain, or there might be other things there, SolarCoin in general, improvements to SolarCoin protocol, things like that. So hopefully there's someone on this call, or we might, I don't know if Dom's on there, or if anyone else is there. But anyway, we'll see if someone pops up to have a chat about that. Otherwise, we might put that to the end, or we might discuss that next time. Then we'll talk a little bit about IOTA and how that could actually mirror to SolarCoin in the way that the two transactional networks could actually work together. Something I've been researching myself, so I talk a little bit about that for a few minutes, I guess. Then a little bit about SolarCoin community ambassadors, any updates there, maybe JPS, Alexandra's looked into that or mentioned it at some point. Maybe we need to be a bit more active in trying to find someone who would like to take over that role. And then a little bit about off-grid projects, anything about there, some off-grid work that Solarly's been doing. It'd be great to hear a little bit about what Max has done with Solarly and all those projects that have been going on there. So I'll do a little bit of screen share there. So can people see that? That's just a little, can people see this that's just popped up now? Yeah. After that, we'll talk a little bit about ElectriCChain, what's going on there, and then some open time, I guess, right towards the end. Pardon me, and anything about the solarcoin.org website. And then we'll say see you later to everyone and see you next month, or hopefully closer to that. Is there anyone else wants to add to the list of topics there, especially around the end? Alexandra or Max or anyone else? Well, feel free to add anything there. Yeah, that document is totally, anyone could add to it, so it's totally open. And then we'll talk about the meme contest. I think that's quite interesting. Right, so give me a moment, I'll just switch my sharing window to the correct window, which is actually different, not Firefox, just Chrome. Okay. So I'll just share it to the Chrome window. And we'll go to the competition channel. So I'm just going to the competition channel on Slack, actually. SolarCoin group Slack. So just pulling up those memes. There was see if that works. Screen share. So yeah, can people see that? Yes, no, hopefully. So I think there's a few memes there. We'll go all the way back to the ones. little bit earlier. I think this one gives you a free incentive for every megawatt hour of generated solar electricity. I think that's the famous meme, Good Guy Greg or something. Good Guy Greg. Then we've got Morpheus. What if I told you I'll pay you for every megawatt hour of produced solar energy? I'll go through. I don't know. What if I told you I produce electricity and cryptocurrency? More generalized. I think this is the winter is coming one. Brace yourselves. People start buying solar panels only for SolarCoins. I think a few upvotes on all of these. That's interesting. We've got Toy Story. SolarCoins everywhere. This one I don't get. Maybe it's just my ignorance. SolarCoin, you belong to us now. Someone please correct me. Claim your SolarCoins, then go to the beach, profit. Blue Horseshoe, love SolarCoin. This one, come with SolarCoin Foundation if you want to live. I think that's a Terminator reference. You asked me what I want, SolarCoin. I guess that's a donkey. And then this one I like. And then they said SolarCoins are made of sunlight. It's a Star Trek reference. And when you heard about SolarCoins, but don't have any solar panel. Okay, so yeah, please get your votes in. I'll upload them to the comment section of YouTube. And then we'll finally finish this month's SolarCoin MEMS contest. The winner gets 50 SolarCoin by Solcrypto. So yeah, any other comments from anyone there about those?
Yeah, I think I really love the first one with what if I told you I produce electricity and cryptocurrency? It's what exactly SolarCoin is about. You produce energy and you produce also a coin that you can use to do something with it. And yes, I think I got a touch with this one.
Is that the Morpheus one, right? Morpheus or this one?
This one, yes. Yes.
This one, okay. So we'll give that a bit of screen time. What if I told you I'll produce electricity and cryptocurrency? Great. All right, thanks everyone. I think we'll move on to the next part. So I'll stop my screen. Stop presenting. And move to the next part. So overall project, a little bit about the ICOs popping up in the solar blockchain space. So something I've just been noticing around myself following all these ICOs happening. There was one probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Actually now the name escapes me. Please correct me someone if I'm wrong. It was like, I think Sunex, or can't remember. It was an ICO based on solar blockchain, and read through the white paper there. That was interesting. Another one that's recently come across the radar is Power Ledger ICO. That's Power Ledger. They're based in Perth, Australia. They're doing an ICO for, I think, electricity trading on blockchain. So it's not specifically actually related to solar energy, but it's related to increasing the network efficiencies and transactional efficiencies of the electricity network, particularly in Australia and New Zealand, and where they're doing that a little bit more. So that's another interesting ICO popping up. Interestingly, I think both of those white papers that I did read were based on Ethereum network. So I think they'll just make an Ethereum token based on the basis of Ethereum. So they might, one comment on that, it's possible that they might run into some transactional fee issues later as well. Depends on how they design their token. But yeah, that's interesting. That's all the ICOs that I've seen lately, and solar blockchain space. Anyone else seen anything? No. Okay, so there's probably a few more coming up. It's interesting to note those. For SolarCoin as well, SolarCoin's more of the slow burner project going along. I can't speak for the SolarCoin project myself, but I'm just involved in it a little bit on different areas. And yeah, SolarCoin's got that 40-year mission. If people are just joining into the project now, it's designed for the next 40 years to incentivize 1 megawatt hour of electricity is equal to 1 SolarCoin. And it's like air miles or a rewards rail for solar electricity produced. So it's a slow burner project. It's going to take a while to build up the network and also build up the transactional rail and the redemption rail. One thing I was discussing yesterday with someone, can't remember who, but basically they're really concerned about the redemption rail because to have a functioning currency, you need to have some way to spend it and so on. So there is a few things going on in the pipeline. With Liquair, they've got a new debit card connected to SolarCoin. I think that would be very interesting. Basically, you'll be able to spend your SolarCoins anywhere on your debit card directly. So that's something they're actively developing there as well. There might be a few other things going on as well. It's hard to follow up everything. But is there any other comments coming in here, not just Luke talking on the overall project? Maybe Crowther or Random Unavailable, you might notice some things, because I noticed that you're looking a lot on what's happening. Maybe not there. Okay, so let's talk about the Raspberry Pi 3 as well. That's something that's just been going on. It's a project we've been working on mainly on the Telegram channel.
Luke, I have some questions regarding the ICO and the token that you were talking about a little bit. Have you been able to either contact them directly or just read the documentation and see if there is like what is like what you can see that they're doing that maybe we should consider either adopting it or just basically like as a pointer to do it in the future?
Yeah, actually, the one that I was reading earlier, I actually just read the white paper, and I actually didn't try to contact their team. It was maybe something I should do. But yeah, I did read through the white paper. It was interesting. I'm actually just trying to find the name of that. If someone else could have a look as well, I think it's called Sun Token or Sun Trade, something or other. Really bad of me just to forget that. But the other one that I know a little bit more about is Power Ledger. So Power Ledger, I've reached out a few times to have a chat unsuccessfully. Hopefully I'll be able to chat with them sometime as well. I think they're quite well developed. They've run quite a number of projects already. And there might be some learnings there that SolarCoin could incorporate as well from Power Ledger. But we do note that they're based on the Ethereum network. SolarCoin is based on SolarCoin. So unless there is some cooperation between the network bridge, then yeah, it's a bit hard to bridge over between the two blockchains. Something we can talk a little bit about if anyone else wants to chime in. Someone please help me figure out what that other ICO was. I think it's Sun Exchange.
Yeah,
no,
put the link on Telegram. It's solarcontract.org, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. No, SolarContract.org. Solar contract or Sun contract, yeah. Yeah, I think they're a crew based out of either Ukraine or Bulgaria or something. Let's see.
Right.
I think they're going to start their ICO in about SNC token, probably in about 7 days. And they've got 5,000 Ethereum so far. So they've already got about $1.4 million raised, which is quite good. Yeah, have a look. People have a look at their white paper. Get some good comments on that. I read through it a few times. A little bit. One thing that I'd like to comment is just Luke. Just one opinion in the millions. I couldn't go too deep into it to understand what was the real transactional utility on the token. So it'd be interesting to have more comments on that. Okay.
It's interesting that they're selling, the token, whereas SolarCoin is granting it. I don't quite understand how that works for them, but I haven't read their white paper yet.
Yeah, the more eyes on the white papers is really good because it's knowledge of the crowd, right? So SolarCoin's been in the game quite a long time, so I guess we can add our own comments to it, to the knowledge of the crowd. So other investors who are trying to kind of do their own due diligence on it can have a little bit more information. Of course, whenever you're investing, it's always do your own due diligence yourself. Don't rely on others and things like that. So yeah, we can move on, I guess, to Raspberry Pi 3 updates. So how's everyone's Raspberry Pis going? So I think I'm running hours and they seem to be going along. Anyone else there running?
I don't have a Raspberry Pi 3 to run it on, although I have been researching the single board computers. I found something called the Odroid, which looks like it is far more capable than the Raspberry Pi 3. And I'm looking into that. It isn't that much more expensive than the Raspberry Pi. Yeah, the times 4. That's it.
Is that the XU4 Odroid? I was looking into those as well. They look really nice.
Yeah, it's one of the versions.
More RAM. Yeah.
Yeah, because it has, you can get one standard with 2 gigs of RAM, and one of them runs Ubuntu 15.04. And I haven't tried to compile a SolarCoin client under Ubuntu yet. I have one machine that has 15.10 on it, and I wonder if there would be any difference. But you know how you can have a huge difference between, even minor changes in Ubuntu. So I don't even know if that would necessarily work. One.
Yeah, I think all these single board computers coming out. I looked at this on the IOTA Slack. If people are interested, IOTA Slack's got more than 10,000 people on it. So it's an amazing Slack, actually. It's just like a troll box or something. You learn a lot there. And I found this on the IOTA Slack as well. I think it's made in Korea. And there's 2 gigabytes of RAM. And there's, can everyone see that? It's the product page. And yeah, it looks like it's a great little computer there. There's another one I found out. It's called the Espresso, and there's also another one, Banana Pi. So there's a few of them that are, hacking out at 2 gigabytes of RAM. Hopefully we find one with a bit more RAM eventually, until they figure out a way to prune the SolarCoin blockchain. Because I think that's really the limit that we're hitting right now, is our chain is getting up to quite a number of blocks. So the RAM is having a tough time trying to keep up with it. I noticed today my Raspberry Pi was already at 820 megabytes out of 900 megabytes of RAM. So it's only got about maybe another month or so until it hits the RAM wall. I might be able to recompile and put it off that operating system and onto a better operating system, which I might end up doing.
I've noticed I can run the client on an old Windows XP machine. It only has 1.25 gigabytes of RAM, and it doesn't have any problems with it, although I have to turn a lot of the Windows services off. But it still runs pretty well with just that, and it's an old Dell laptop. So, you know, I guess if we, I don't know, the Linux client seems to be a little too dependent on RAM. If there was a way to, you know, virtualize that feature, where you can stick it on, like a thumb drive or something, that would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's right. Another thing that I learned about 2 weeks ago was LANer. So there's another person on the IOTA Slack there. They're actually just retrofitting LANer. So they're putting IOTA nodes on LANer because they were actually a LANer distributor. So it looks like some of these LANers are pretty bulked up, you know. They got like 4 gigs of RAM and so on. But of course, they're a little bit more expensive. So that's another one to look at.
I can see that. You know, I guess a lot of the projects are open source. You know, I can see trimming down some of the other features just for extra RAM alone would make a huge difference.
Yeah. So we do have something coming up for the SolarCoin project. We've got to figure out what's going to happen. I wish Steve was here because he's one of the leaders on that. Maybe he can comment later, or anyone else as well. So he's got a lot of experience with Raspberry Pi. So is there kind of a consensus on what we should do?
I have a question about the Odroid XU4. Have you noticed some difference of performance when you launch the SolarCoin wallet on the Odroid XU4 versus the Raspberry Pi?
I actually haven't run the X4 yet. I've ordered one, so I just don't know when that's coming. Okay,
it will be interesting to compare the two processors to see if there is a better let's say performance for between the two boards.
Yeah, definitely. They have this thing called heterogeneous multiprocessing. I don't know what that is. If someone knows.
Oh, it looks like a multi-threaded processor. That thing is pretty hot. 8 cores. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So the more people that could try this out, the better too. I'll try and see when my order comes in. Strangely enough, I had to order it via the US when I'm here in Japan. But it's from Korea. So I just don't know why it went around this strange loop, but it's what you have to do sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, we can move on to if anyone else has got more comments on Raspberry Pi. I guess we could move into the HTML interface about that aspect. So has anyone worked on that, or is anyone planning to work on that? I think it was mentioned in our last Hangout. That's why it's still in this list. HTML interface to set up the platform for Raspberry Pi 3. It would be nice to have it. It makes it easier for other newbies and new users to actually, get involved. But yeah, maybe that was Dom or someone else talking about that. We can bookmark it for next time, maybe.
I don't think that gentleman's here today.
Either Miklos, the one that says something about it, or maybe I just can't remember, because he said either that or something with droplets. I'm sorry,
okay. Docker?
Yeah. He says something about trying to put the node on a Docker system, but I don't. Now that I'm speaking out loud, I'm remembering he was saying something about that. But I think he also said something about the HTML interface. He could help out. I'm just not. I'm trying to get some verification on that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there is a few ways to do it. I guess you could build up your own HTML interface. You could do it off Node-RED or something like that. But you could also work with some existing frameworks that are already built out there. What was the other one? They were planning on working with building up some APIs, but I just don't know if it hasn't gone ahead or anything.
Okay.
Okay, so what about, we'll talk a little bit about the next thing. Upcoming hackathon in Thailand. No one on this call right now is involved in that. Is there no one here? We'll have to move that on. But yeah, just an overview. I did notice a few things on the SolarCoin Slack. There's actually a Slack channel about that. And it's called, I think, Thailand Hackathon or something. And yeah, there is some plans, and they've got some sponsors for a SolarCoin related or solar blockchain related hackathon down in Thailand later in the year. I don't know too much more about it because I'm not the person running it or organizing it, but I just saw some talking about it. So that does look exciting because the more developers that can get interested or get involved in SolarCoin and ElectriCChain projects is definitely, it's an added benefit to the whole project for more of that interest, not only economic interest, but interest in the vision of the project. I think that's a very important thing for people working in this project to have an aligned interest to build up this whole project over time. So yeah, if we could, maybe next time we can talk about that. Okay, so a little bit moving over to IOTA and SolarCoin Mirror. So there's a few people on this, I think, here that could have a chat about that. I think there's, I could have a talk to myself a little bit, but then there's also Andre on here and Max, who is working on looking at IOTA as well. But something, I'll just give an overview and then feel free, anyone, to add your points when you jump in. But I've been looking at the IOTA Slack channels and looking at how the DAG works. So I've been looking at that for more than a year and how it's very different to the blockchain. So the best way to describe the difference between a DAG and a blockchain, I'll probably mess this up, but a blockchain is kind of like X, Y, and time. So it's like 3 dimensions, an X dimension, a Y dimension, and a time. And then a DAG is like an X, Y, a Z, and a time. So it's more like a 2-dimensional space plus a time domain moving along. So it's got that extra complexity in it. So last week I met up with 3 people here in Tokyo who are quite deep into IOTA. There's quite a number of investors here in the IOTA project in Tokyo. I think if you go to their Slack, there's about 300 in the Japanese language channel, and vice versa in the Chinese and also Korean. But yeah, I met up with a guy from Tokyo University here. He's a researcher in IOTA, or he's a researcher in cryptocurrency, actually, blockchain. And yeah, it's very interesting guy to talk to. A little bit hard. Maybe he looks at me like I'm an ant or something who doesn't know anything, but basically he's very interested in the IOTA project just because of the point of no transaction fees and the way that it implements a DAG for IoT. If people are not too familiar with that project, it's good to go and have a look at it. But the main point about this call is how would IOTA work with SolarCoin. You know, because SolarCoin itself is its own blockchain, and it's got the added benefit of being one of the only blockchains that is actually proof of generation, so POG. So it's a blockchain with POG plus proof of stake. So it's one of those rare blockchains in the sense that you've given a free reward for your solar energy produced. So at that point of where you actually do that calculation, I think it's a good way to mirror that calculation onto the IOTA DAG and also onto the SolarCoin blockchain. Because I think actually trying to connect them downstream when they're already in the blockchain space is probably very difficult. If you think about it, had a little bit of a chat to the Tokyo University guy, and he said that sounds impossible to actually connect the DAG on the fly to a blockchain. And yeah, because I asked him about that too, and he was quite concerned. So if anyone else has some comments on that, or IOTA and SolarCoin in general, please feel free to have a chat here. So what about Max? Or?
Yes, I like to say IOTA can be very, very interesting for SolarCoin and for many Internet of Things projects and solutions. The thing is that to make it like a mirror of the SolarCoin blockchain to IOTA, it asks the main question is about what happened if the mirror should be one, but if the data is not the same on the blockchain SolarCoin and IOTA, it could be very critical. So so yeah, I think the software should care about this kind of thing. And also from what I have seen from SolarCoin, I was really excited by what SolarCoin can do, and now I see IOTA, and it's just blowing my mind of how we can go further with these two technology, and I'm really looking forward to start developing to include IOTA to SolarCoin very soon.
Yeah, that's great comments, Max. So, I mean, because you're actively on the developer side of that, yeah, I definitely think trying to figure out that mirror is going to be a big task, right? To figure out what's the best way, the most strategic way to connect these two. And I actually think that SolarCoin and solar energy produced is kind of a unique opportunity to connect these two different technologies together.
And also because IOTA is pretty new I think it started 2 or 3 years ago, and the only thing that we have to really take care of is the advancement, what advancement they do, and we have to follow the advancement, which means we cannot go faster of what IOTA is doing. So it's just that I think the cons of IOTA that we have to wait. They continue to develop to include new features or a new thing. So we cannot go faster than IOTA does.
Yeah, that's right. And the guy I met last week, he was talking about MAM. They have a message space protocol that they're developing now. They're going to probably release in the next month. It's called MAM, like a message that connects to the Tango. So I think there's probably a unique opportunity to connect that MAM space to the SolarCoin TX message space, because there's that 512 character data set as well that we can connect or bridge across.
Yes, and also for IOTA, I'm really excited by the way how they're going to include the technology for very small controller. So, but we have to wait for that. So, wait and see. So.
Okay. So any other comments there? I think Andre, you was talking about that before. If you want to add something, or maybe there. Not there. Okay. So any other things about IOTA? An exciting project to follow. I think it can definitely work well with SolarCoin in the future. Okay. How about we move on to the next one, which is let's skip the ambassador. Let's talk with the Solarly project and off-grid projects. So Max, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. I have prepared something. Maybe I can share my screen to show you.
Stop. Fine.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
up.
So what Solarly is about is projects who have people to have access to electricity in Central Africa, and we started for an exploration phase in Cameroon, where we have installed.
Did you screen share? Not yet.
Pardon?
Did you screen share? Because we cannot see it yet.
You can see the screenshot now? Okay, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I have to share. Yeah, okay. Done. Yeah, you have see something?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, just going to move this. All right. Okay. So, yeah, Solarly is to bring electricity for rural area in Africa. And we started an exploration phase in November of 2016, and we have installed 40 solar home systems in a village in Cameroon in order to test, and we did also several surveys in order to get a better understanding of what the people need and what we can do to improve the systems. We have also do some traineeship of the people, local people, because it makes no sense to introduce a new system into a village and then we go back to a country and then nobody know exactly how it's works. So it's very important to do training in order to self-autonomy maintenance. And so we did collaborations with the Technical School of Barefoot, the Barefoot Council, and the people of the Boy village, which is the village test in Cameroon. Okay, we have also a lot of work around. We stayed there during 6 months in a place without electricity. We work with solar energy during our work in the village. We also made some great partnership in order to create a long-lasting project in Cameroon. It's very important for us to have a good network and also to work with good people that can help. It can go in the same way, in the same direction together. So also there is a documentary made of us. It's not released yet, but and finally, we are a really multidisciplinary team of 4 Belgian guys and 1 Cameroon guy that helped a lot for us. It's a part of the team. And what Solarly is doing right now, because we the pilot phase we done the pilot phase and we successfully done this one. And we want to go really further with the solar home system in Africa for off-grid electricity. And the thing is that we are still looking for, and we still study the implementation of the blockchain SolarCoin into our systems. We haven't did some proof of concept because of the lack of internet access. We had a really bad luck during the pilot phase because yes, some political problems create they shut down internet during 3 months. So, but we still study the case that how a solar off-grid can be very profitable for, I mean, how a blockchain and solar off-grid together can be very profitable with the use of SolarCoin and different distributed ledger technology. So yes, that's the project. We are working on very hard every day, and yeah.
That's really great overview of the project. Guys are like the solar Jedi's out there in Cameroon. So what was your kind of your team breakdown? You know, your big, what was your big challenges? I guess, you know, just one question. I guess the internet was down. Yeah.
During the pilot or right now? You mean?
Yeah, during the pilot, and then later now, I guess. Yeah.
I think the biggest challenge is to understand that what we prepare something from Europe, and then we arrive on the field, and then we discover that everything work differently. So we have to always rethink. We have to move and forward and to do a step back every day, because you realize that something you imagine in Europe doesn't work in Africa. And that was a big challenge, to recreate the project and to always have the ability to move from point to another without lose motivations. Yes, I think it was a big challenge. Also, the lack of internet access was also a challenge for us, because we are working with internet, and when you have to look for something, you just Google it and then you get your answer. But there you don't have it. You really have to organize yourself to when you reach an internet point in the south side of Cameroon, you can say, okay, we have to do this, and this to get information and go back with it to continue the work.
Wow. Yeah.
Right now, the biggest challenge for us is to restart a bit. Like I say, restart, because we have done many things there in Cameroon. Now we are back, but it's like a new restart. It's not to do anything from zero, but it's to restart the machine and yeah, raise money and everything to make the thing could work for the next 2018, because we would like to do a next pilot for the next years, and in order to validate our business models and also our partnership. And yeah, that's a very important thing, and many challenges coming.
So what's the next stage for solar? Are you getting to a few more systems out there, or getting feedback or learnings, delineating the data, deconstructing challenges and planning for the next stage? Or
yeah, we plan to go back to Cameroon as soon as possible to validate business models and also partnership, and also in the other side to continue to develop and to build a new product for. We know that the big challenge is both are challenging, but if you want to deal with the industry, it's kind of very challenging to make a new fresh product. So we have hard work along the road to make it happen for the 2018.
yeah, that's great work. We're very impressed and really respect the work you guys are doing out there. So yeah, keep up the hard work, and all support from Solcrypto and SolarCoin as well, ElectriCChain.
Thank you.
Yeah, moving on to the next part. I guess we're at nearly 50 minutes here, everyone. So if there's probably another 5-10 minutes in it before we have to wind up. But I've got a few open points here. ElectriCChain, I think we didn't get to talk about that ElectriCChain is open ElectriCChain.org project. So if people are just starting off and seeing SolarCoin, ElectriCChain, they're a little bit confused about what's what. But SolarCoin is the blockchain, but ElectriCChain is a number of innovative projects that are built on the SolarCoin blockchain and other blockchains. And each one of these is managed in an open system, open source manner. And it's modeled on the Linux Foundation model. So eventually ElectriCChain in the longer term frame of things probably will have conferences and things like that, conference or open projects. So the first project that really worked for ElectriCChain was the Raspberry Pi project. There's other projects going on as well. But maybe Francois can talk about that next time if he's leading up the ElectriCChain side of things. So eventually we'll talk about the SolarCoin.org website. Is Alessandro on there? Maybe you have a little bit of information about that, or what's happening there. Up there.
Oh, here I am.
Yeah. So you have a little bit of
I haven't been able.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to finalize the website, and mainly because there's some technical issues. A lot of things that I thought were there are already different on WordPress, and also there's the template that I'm basing off. It's actually not based on WordPress. It's based on a static site generator, which actually is not a bad idea to have, because if you have a static site generator, it will definitely be more secure, and also because there is no server-side code or database for that matter. And the way to modify it is just basically do some plain markdown text. So that's an idea that I've been thinking about trying to integrate into the landing page. Now, besides that, I don't know who's in charge of the Drupal side, because I think
Helmet might be doing Drupal. Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't really talked to him lately, so I don't know what's the stage on it. But I really hope that we can have some update on the Drupal side, and then the site generator will be actually once we figure out how to tweak the theme, it will be much more easier from then on.
Hi, this is Francois.
Francois, got on. Hello.
I'm a bit late. We had a very interesting conversation this morning, but I can comment on that a bit later.
Yeah, so Francois, we're just talking a little bit about SolarCoin.org website, and Alessandro has been working on it with the Drupal he's been talking to the people working on the Drupal backend, and he's working on the WordPress front end, I think. And so there's some ongoing work there. Do you have anything to add about that? I mean, you might know a bit more.
Sorry, apologies, on the website?
Yeah, SolarCoin.org website, the main one.
So from our side, we have someone translating to Dutch as well. So doing some betterment, I would say, on the Dutch version of the website. We're also looking at presentations, so modifying the downloadable presentation, which is on the front page there.
Right.
That's what we're also doing.
Okay. So yeah, do you want to comment a little bit more about what's been going on lately on ElectriCChain and other projects you've been working on? I know you've been traveling around a lot, so have a little bit of a general talk, maybe 5-10 minutes. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, definitely. So just now we just wrapped up a very interesting conversation with UNDP, so United Nations Development Program. Basically, what we're looking at, and this is an open channel, which is on Slack. You can actually, anybody can actually have a look at it. It's called in the SolarCoin group. It's called UNDP Moldova SLR Fund, and basically what we're looking at is running the Sun Exchange for funding. We're looking at a bit more than €1 million for funding of a couple of sites through Bitcoin. So basically, with the Sun Exchange platform, anybody can actually fund these solar installations in Moldova. And then obviously SolarCoins comes on top of that as an additional means to increasing the value and the return on investment, I would say, of the solar installation. And so UNDP is providing the background and the floor for this product. And these are just a couple of projects which we're implementing with well, first of all with the United Nations, but with the ElectriCChain then. We have another 2 projects with United Nations as well, UNDP. One of them is about coloring the coins then with Lumo as well. Lumo is also a crowdfunding platform based out of France. And so what we're looking at with these colored coins is actually being able to spend them in certain shops. Think big brands then, IKEA, for example. And so whereby we want to integrate then these coins at a higher value than the current 20 cents then, for example, to be sold then for buying goods and services in these big brand companies then. And so people would be motivated in doing crowdfunding, participating in crowdfunding with Lumo, because they also get these solar coins as an additional reward, but which they can spend immediately in big IKEA places then, or shops then. So that's the second project which we're also working on. A third one is also towards carbon credits, whereby we're pegging carbon credits, and also with United Nations. So this is more with UNFCCC, based out of Bonn then. But basically running carbon credits onto the SolarCoin blockchain, also coloring the coins then in this case, but allowing for typical markets which have been illiquid. I mean, there's really 2 sets of carbon credit markets, where you have some which are triggered by the let's put it that way, by the consumers. So the big company then, which is a heavy polluter, and these function very well. So you have quite a lot of liquidity on those carbon credits. But then you have other carbon credits which have become more illiquid assets, and whereby you actually have to buy them over the counter. And so again, SolarCoin blockchain is there to helping liquefying these carbon credits. So really specifically, this is on to different projects which we're running with the ElectriCChain. Obviously, we're very busy with monitoring platforms. That's another bunch of projects which we're running with ElectriCChain as well. So basically integrating the API onto those monitoring platforms. We have a number of these monitoring platforms interested in participating with us. And that's also on the SolarCoin group Slack. You might have seen that there's 2 or 3 which are already mentioned in the Slack channel. So that's also it for us here.
That's really great news, Francois. Like, really, a lot of different fronts you're working on there and a number of different projects and scenarios. It's always great to hear back on those things. And yeah, that's really interesting about, I think carbon credits and blockchain and solar energy, they seem to be three different things that actually dovetail very well together. I think we're just touching the surface here with the upside potential in that area. So it's exciting times. Yeah,
we are. I mean, when just yesterday, so I was in Geneva meeting with Dr. Ashley Pilipis. She's also on the Slack channel here. But they came up with a number of projects which they would look at running with the SolarCoin blockchain. So it's quite interesting. I'd say we're still in pure business development. So it's more still, ElectriCChain's work is more still about explaining blockchain, explaining Bitcoin, and explaining SolarCoin. That's a lot of what we do. So just recently we took part to an IEA event. We met up with the chief economist at the IEA, met up with the Mexican Minister of Energy. That's another highlight. So, but all these people, most of them don't know about Bitcoin or blockchain. So it's really getting basically everybody to speed on the technology. So we're spending definitely a lot of time in traveling and attending these mostly solar fairs or IoT fairs. Just recently in London as well. It's the Global Solar Finance Emerging Markets. And solar asset managers, I would say, are starting to wake up to the additional value and the additional profit which they can derive from SolarCoin. So it's getting interesting, definitely.
Yeah, you're at the lead there, Francois. Really, another Jedi out there. So just to wind up here, just about something that I wrote a week or two ago about sunburning your solar charge into batteries with SolarCoin and other blockchains and DAGs. So it's something that I was looking through for a few months about basically transportable batteries and kind of just hashing them into a blockchain so that you can basically, this is just a proof of concept what I was just working on here, but it was mainly just to write an open blog so people can kind of run with the idea of using the SolarCoin blockchain, message space, or other blockchains or DAGs to basically hash batteries that are charged by solar energy, and then have some confidence that you actually have charged that battery with solar panel, and then finally you can transact on it. So you can send solar coins to settle. You'd actually have to send that little battery, and yeah, you can just hash it into your blockchain here. So here's the message I did on that test. So that was something that was going around in my mind for a few months, but finally it came out, and that was called sunburning. So if I think other people have some comments on that or some feedback, that would be great. But just a little thing.
Actually, yeah, I remember I was talking with you on Slack about that, saying, if you even scale that up and said, all right, you have, industrial sized batteries, you could have a blockchain sticker on each one of those batteries, and you can, if you had an ID for each battery, which I'm sure you do, you'll be able to see exactly how each one is performing and what power is going out where, and quantify each one as the system is working.
Yeah, that was the idea, because this idea was floating around in my mind for multiple months. I was always looking at, I started off thinking like, wow, there's solar energy that are distributed, it's decentralized. What connects everything in the worst case scenario? And it basically is batteries. So batteries are the movable way to transport electrons other than the electricity grids, right? So maybe if you did flesh out this idea into the kind of longer term future, you would actually have kind of like solar powered drones transporting batteries around cities as well. because then you've got an alternative to the monopolized central electricity grid. So that's something to think about. But yeah, I think it's still a bit deep future, and that you need to get over some hurdles. And one of the hurdles that I did find out was actually not being able to spoof on your contract, in your algorithmic contract. So you probably need a smart contract in your blockchain as well, to when you charge it up and when you discharge it. There might be another way to do it, but trying to get around that spoofing point when you actually charge the battery and discharge is kind of my biggest concern at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think there's a lot I think we're just touching the surface here, guys, in this amazing new space we've got with blockchains and solar energy. So yeah, if other people got comments, feedback, anything, it's always great to have more open chat discussions with everyone. Really respect everyone's input, hard work, travel, suffering, opinions. So yeah, we'll probably have to wind it up. We're nearly over an hour. So if there are any closing comments from anyone here?
I'm just reading from the media kit, which you would want to be added somewhere. Did we comment on that? I'm sorry, I joined a bit late then, but
No, I don't. Not really sure. I think it was the comment from the last call, the last hangout, was that the SolarCoin.org website was a little bit confusing to newcomers. And, you know, that is something that, you know, most of us here have been involved in the project for, you know, over 2 years or a year or two. So we kind of got used to all of those things. Sometimes we probably have to orbit back, step back and have a look again. The ElectriCChain website, the SolarCoin website, Solcrypto website. Is it really kind of explaining things well to the new users coming in? And I think at the moment we've probably failed. We need to improve our message, our overall message to new users. And I think people are complaining a little bit about that as well.
Got it. So I'll find, as an immediate response to that, I'll find a place to putting the media kit on the front page, then that might be useful as well.
Yeah, I think there was a comment as well, and Alessandro was talking about it, like kind of having a good flow, you know, a way when you first look at the SolarCoin website, you see a nice flow, and there's a lot of little clicks and ways that you get lost in there. I know it's a big site, it's got a lot of great information in there. We just got to think about the user as well. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can talk a little bit about it. Yeah, at the moment, basically the site is more like a map for different links, and the information is contained within these presentations or FAQs, and it really doesn't help a new user coming into a website, because he had to click a bunch of links to get to the information that he really needs. So the idea is to have it more like this ICO websites you see right now, where they start with like a focal point, giving an oversight of the whole project, and as you scroll down, it will get into the different points within that project. So a similar flow of information was thought out to be like, okay, so maybe we can take all the information from the FAQ, lay it out, do it like a good, let's say, some graphical representations of what we're trying to do, and some small text that the user can read, like on one site, and maybe that could do the trick and make him interested on the project, and at the same time be knowledgeable enough to go to the next step. And then if we have further information, then we can have a different section where you have kind of like documentation, general documentation of the project, where it's a little bit more bulky on the reading, but also in more detail, but also not really all in front on the website, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the thing about from the user flow. Yeah.
Are you? I have a question. Are you going to on the website talk about what we actually do with the Raspberry Pi and the SolarCoin claiming?
Yeah, I think on the ElectriCChain maybe we've got a project 3, right, Francois? We've got a thing about Raspberry Pi there. Yeah.
So I was thinking about to show to the new people to use or current user of SolarCoin that can install a wallet and a low power wallet in their house. So is there like a step-by-step installation web page where people can get in touch with the Raspberry Pi and SolarCoin wallets?
Yeah, we should do that. We definitely should link it to SolarCoin website as well, like a nice summary.
I know there is a lot of priority thing to do before that, but I think it would be cool to have this one that people can go further as a DIY project in their home and with the SolarCoin. It can be fun for them.
Great suggestion. Okay, guys, I think we gotta wind up, but it's been a great discussion today. I think we went a bit over time, but yeah, let's keep it up for the next one as well, maybe in a few weeks. And thanks very much for everyone's time.
Great, thank you for organizing.
Thanks.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thank you for hosting, Luke. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank
Thanks.
you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.